Hey there guys, Callsign Carbon here. Figured I'd record a video for you guys, a little tutorial how to fly the helicopter. For a lot of people, it is counterintuitive. It is hard to do, it's hard to get up off the ground, it's hard to stay in the air, it's hard to multitask. Don't worry about it, I got you guys. Now, before we get into it, I'm going to go ahead and just preface a couple things. Number one, this is a video only about how to do basic flight maneuvers in the heli. Any other weapons or advanced maneuvering, advanced landing, stuff like that, that'll be coming in separate videos later on. So stay tuned for that. If you don't want to miss those, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss those videos. I have a really busy schedule, so I record whenever I can, meaning that sometimes videos are few and far between. If you miss one, you're probably going to miss a lot more. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Alright? I don't want you to miss those cool videos. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get you guys into it. Alrighty guys, here we are. We're in the cockpit of the AH-94. Very first thing we're going to want to do is get that battery on and get our APU on. And we got some noise, so now we're going to close that door up. Now from there, we can start turning everything on. We can get our MFDs, we can get our, I don't know what that's called. We can get all of our readouts already. Now, since I'm back here in the pilot seat, almost forgot about the HUD. I always like to have my nav up on the left and have my targeting up on the right. That is a nice little way to just have situational awareness, my ability to use any of my munitions. If I have a gunner, I can put whatever I want up here. But since I'm the only guy here, just gonna be using this for now. Now, next up on the chopping block is getting our engines up and running. We don't want to just be running this APU all the time. Not gonna do us any good. The way we're gonna do that, by coming over here, we're gonna see this here. This is our engine power switch. We got idle and we got flight, so I'm going to go ahead and pop it up into idle. That's going to prime our engines to actually start running. The next up, we have our engine start switches on the right. We have two engines in this thing. We have our left and our right. The right, that's going to be the one that we start first. So you're going to see our RPMs down here. As we start that, this is going to start to climb. You can also see it up here. I got to this menu by hitting the status button. See that tracking up. As soon as it is out of that yellow range, we can go ahead and start our left engine as well. Now, if we start both engines too quickly, then we're going to have something called a flame out, because we don't have enough battery power in order to start both engines. So at this stage, we can go ahead, we can start it up. It will drain the battery a little bit, but that's alright, our APU can take it. So as soon as that right engine is ready, there we go. Everything's working just fine. Alright, now we got her up and idle. We got both engines up, gaining RPM, gaining some rotor speed. Next step is going to be popping this little baby up into flight. Make sure she's all the way up. There we go. We'll start gaining rotor speed. As soon as it's in this green section, we can go ahead, we can lift off. At this point, we turn that APU off. Don't need that power. There we go. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab my collective, grab my flight stick, and I'm going to gently pull back on that collective. There we go. Now we're up. And go ahead, point the nose in the direction I want to go, and eke her forward. Now this little trajectory symbol right here, called the meatball, at least that's what I call it, want to kind of have that in line with the horizon, this big old horizon line. That is going to allow us to build as much speed as possible while maintaining all of our altitude. Look at that, we're already going at 140 knots. Now while we're flying this, we got to make sure that we are very careful with it. If we're not gentle with her, she's not going to be gentle with us. If you yank on that stick, she's going to flop, she's going to hit the ground, going to do some flips, and not the good kind either. We'll show you guys how to do the flips in the advanced movement tutorial, but for now, don't do flips. is not a good idea. Anywho, just gonna swing around. We can get our landing gear up at this time. Reduce some drag. And there we have it. We're flying. Now for now, I'm just gonna show you guys a couple of maneuvers. So the main thing is just going into a circle. You want to make sure your trajectory is up at your horizon. You can kind of roll the aircraft over, and then you can pull back on that nose, and she'll start doing her thing. Now do be careful about pulling too hard. Like I said, if you pull too hard, you're going to have some really bad experiences. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get some speed. I'm going to act like I'm going on a gun run on that bunker, or that hangar right there. So getting a little Bert. Alright, and at this point I'm not able to see it, so I'm going to swing around really fast, and oh, I flipped. So I'm going to go ahead and lower my collective all the way down, then raise it back up. And look at that, I'm back in control of the aircraft. So I'm going to do that again, and when I do, I want you guys to pay attention to the torque, the torque value in relation to the rotor speed. You'll notice that they get a little bit out of whack from what they normally are, and that is a telltale sign of a good old tail whip. That's what I call them. Alright, now that we got some good speed, I'm going to go ahead and induce another tail whip. Come on down. Gain us a little bit more speed. Then I'm going to try and whip her around too fast. Oh! Look at that. Torque is too high. Rotor speed going down. Lower that collective, it lowers the torque and allows that rotor speed to return to green. Then we raise that collective up. Look at that. See, that's the way you do it. Whenever you start getting into some sort of uncontrolled maneuver, it's always best to just lower that collective. That'll help you out. Alright, it's counterintuitive, I know. But lowering that collective always will help with your aircraft control. Just slam it all the way down, and then you can go ahead and do other things. Now, it also does help with changing your turn radius. So I'll go ahead, I'll give a demonstration here, gain a little bit more speed. Now, my normal turns are going to look kind of like this. Big sweeping things, because I've still got a lot of engine power. Now I'm going to come back down to the other end of this runway, and I'll show you what you can do if you cut your collective. This is a little bit more of an advanced maneuver. I'll go over this a little more in the advanced movement video. But just the main gist of it, you can do this. Lower your collective, pitch back a little more, raise it up. And I turned on a dime. So there's a big difference. You lose a lot of airspeed, but you can turn quicker. Really, really contrary to the instincts of a pilot. At least until you get used to it. Now that you know how to control your aircraft, you know how to get it out of your out of those uncontrollable situations, I'll teach you how to land it. Now, for some people, they like to use this this sensor on color mode with a head track. They like to be able to look through the aircraft at where they're landing. Personally, I find this incredibly distracting. I don't actually like it. So, to each their own. I'd say try out landing in a bunch of different ways, see which one you like the most. Personally, I like just going full send and just landing. Now I'll show you how to do that. Go ahead and put our landing gear down. Look at our landing pad here. We're going to land on this one right here, closest to us. We're going to lower our collective, and bank and pitch so that we can keep our altitude a little bit, but we can also kill our forward momentum. We don't want to be going forward as much as we want to be going up and down. To get a little bit lined up here, you can use the other helipads as your lineup tools. Oh, overshot it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and come back a little bit. And set her down.
Ground crews on station.
Look at that. Now make sure while you're trying to land, while you're trying to do anything really, don't jerk the control stick. If you jerk the control stick, you're going to get into situations like this, where it takes a long time for me to recover out of certain movements. Like you can see, they're very drastic movements. Now if I do it very gently, the gentle movements combined with controlling of your flight collective,
Ready to rearm and refuel.
going up and down with that, that is going to allow you the best control possible for your aircraft. Right. Last thing I'm going to go over before I cut you guys loose and send you on your way, it's going to be autopilot stuff. Now, there are two collectives. You have your flight collective and your combat collective. Well, flight down here and combat up here. Combat collective, this is going to be for switching between your MFDs, so if I grab onto this, and I hit my top button, it's going to swap between these two different MFDs. So I can move around on the left. If I push that button again, move around on the right. Look at that. And slew up my targeting crosshair over there on that building. If I wanted to, I could let loose with some guns, but I won't because I'm being nice today. We'll go over that later. We'll bombard these cities later. Now, you can also use your chaff and flares on this. Since you are going to be flying around, you might encounter some missiles, so a good thing to do is know how to use the chaff and flare. Go ahead, you're going to click your trigger in, and then you're going to hit the top button on your controller. When you hit that top button on your controller, you're going to start releasing chaff and flare. So we'll turn around, we'll see all these pretty lights. There we go. Got a bunch of pretty lights around us. Look at that. Now the other collective you have is going to be your flight collective. Now for this one, the way you're going to use it is by holding it and then hitting the top button on your controller. That's going to turn on your hover autopilot. It's going to keep you at the same altitude and have you hover. Now, if I have my collective kind of in the middle position where I don't see anything up above or down below, I'm going to stay perfectly level. I'm not going to be going up or down. But if I raise that collective, I'll be raising my altitude. If I lower it, I'll be lowering my altitude. Pretty cool, huh? Now, you can induce a hover yourself just by, you know, swamping around where you're pointed and what you're doing. However, for a lot of people, that hover autopilot is much easier. So, along with that, I want to say that's about all the important stuff that you guys are going to need to know to get you up off the ground. While you're using all this info, feel free to experiment, you know? Figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Every pilot is different. So, what I do may not be what you do. It may not be what works for you. So, just experiment. Figure out what you like, what you don't like. That's going to be all for this video, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed. Hope it was informational. I hope it helped you in some regard. Even if you didn't learn anything, even if you didn't need to learn it. Hope you guys had fun. Because you know what? That's what matters. That and the friends we make along the way. So, bit of dad advice for the day. Go out, make a friend. No matter who it is. It could be the really nice lady that's bagging groceries. Hell, it could just be the dude behind the counter at the 7-Eleven where you get your Monster Energy. Just make a friend. Go talk to someone. and have a good day. Alright? Don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Tell you what. One last thing before I go. Let me know in the comment section what you guys want to see. Alright? I'm always taking suggestions. If you have different music you want me to listen to, different games you want me to play, a book you want me to read, I'm good with that too. I love reading. So, until next time, you guys stay tuned. I'll see you all in the next one.